I got a question about how good should you be to start writing your own songs? Um, the answer to that is basically you don't have to be good to write your own song. Like, I wish I would have realized when I started guitar that like music is when you're a consumer of music, you kind of think about it as sort of like a magical thing, and that like like we kind of worship different bands and stuff. Like, it might not be the best word for it, but we somehow think that like the song just came into like full form perfect. And I mean, a lot of like bands, like, it's like a career of music. They get to that point, so they're super good and they know what they're doing, and they have great like sound engineers and studio people to really help with this stuff. And a lot of them have been playing in bands for like 20 years. So I mean, it's not really fair to compare yourself to that, but I remember for me, like, one of my main goals with music was to be able to write my own songs more than anything. That's all what I wanted to do. And it took me like a year, I mean, just of like learning stuff, and partly I just didn't want to put that pressure on myself. I just wanted to like learn the basics. And then I started thinking like, all right, like, so what do I need to do to write my own song? And really I already knew what I needed to do. I just basically needed one of my teachers was like, well, why don't you just write a song, use GCD? And I was kind of like, you mean just make up something with GCD? He's like, yeah, just play only GCD. That's all you can use. Go make up a song with GCD. And it was like, somehow I think like a lot of artists, creative people, they talk about how like constraints are good. If you think about it, like, let's say like your teacher tells you like, all right, go home and write an essay, you'd be like, well, what do you mean? Whereas if they say, yeah, you need to write an essay about this specific passage, it needs to have 5 paragraphs, it needs to have like, one thesis statement that's clear, and it needs to use 3 quotations. It needs to be about the theme of death in the novel or something. Like, you'd be like, oh, okay, and it would be pretty easy to do. Whereas if they didn't give you any constraint, it would be kind of like hard. So like he basically told me to just go home and play something with GCD, and which is kind of funny because I mean most people know GCD. Most people learn that pretty early, or if you don't, I mean, you could just go learn GCD and then try to make something up with it. So I mean, for a first song, I'll show you what I made up actually, which was kind of sophisticated in retrospect, but that's because I kind of built up like a lot of knowledge. But I mean, like, now I like one thing, like a lot of songs, like as you progress with music, you realize that like a lot of music's just really simple, but it sounds good just because of like what they sing over it, and like the tone they get, and like how they blend it with the bass and the drums and stuff. But even like a lot of singer songwriters like Bob Dylan, or this guy I like named Will Oldham, or Bright Eyes for more recent folky guys, or Bon Iver, or however you say it. Like those guys, their music's good and it's really minimalist and a lot of the folkier stuff. So like, you could learn G. So let's say you want to make your own song up, like, this would be a good thing. Just start with G, and maybe either decide, alright, I'm just gonna strum like all down strums, and then think like how much energy do you want to give it. You want it to be kind of slow and sad, so you can strum like, or you could be like, nah, I want to make it kind of more upbeat, so I'm gonna be like, and then you're thinking, alright, well, I know I want to do more than just G, so I'm gonna go to C or D. So how about I go to D? Like, alright, it's like I got the right mood, it's kind of happy. So then I gotta either go back to G or to C. So why don't I go to C, just because I want to make it as complicated as possible within the constraints. And then you basically have one more option, G or D. How about I go back to D? And then you could do it again. So like, yeah, that sounded good. So G, D, C, D. mean, that's like a song idea right there. And if you have like the desire to write lyrics, just start like humming stuff as you do it. I mean, you can make a whole song out of that. So let's say real quick we want to have one other part. How about after that, then so we're on C. Then how about we have a part where it just goes to C for a while. And then to G. So it's going to have a middle section that's just C and G. So we had G, D, C, D, and then just a C, and then a G. But let's say that's a little too boring. So what we could do instead is maybe we'll pick something on that part. So it sounds more maybe like a bridge or something different. So maybe instead we'll have strumming, the fast strumming. Do that for a while, and then we'll go picking on C. I'm just picking random. Usually, like the best thing, like when you don't know what you're gonna pick on something, just start out random. And as time goes on, you'll just sort of come up with something. So right there, that would be a total song structure. It might not be a great song, but if you're trying to start a song, to start learning how to do it, I mean, you could steal what I just did, maybe improve on it, and then just record it. And then the next step would be to start jamming over that and adding some extra riffs. So when you're in the key of G, the absolute easiest thing to do would be to use this basic scale most people know, like this pentatonic scale, and just throw something on top of it with that. And that would be like the perfect way to like get your first song done. And then if you want to start singing over it, like I'm not a singer, but what I like to do, I do sometimes sing. I like to write lyrics, but I've never really worked on my voice to the point where I really like it. But the way I've discovered to generate melodies is kind of like be humming. And I do this actually all the time I'm playing. I'm just like mumbling stuff, or like I hear stuff in my head, sort of like phrases. I think a lot of that, why you hear it, is just from doing music a lot, but also if you get in the habit of kind of whistling or humming or mumbling words. So I'd be like, boom, 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 like just start making noise. And I see you, blah, blah. And sometimes just whatever words come in your head, just start saying them. It doesn't have to make any sense at all. Like, themes will start to come out, like, as you mumble stuff. Or you might have, like, a few words in your head that are, like, that you kind of want to have in the song. So you just kind of start repeating them. Like, let's say this, like, I wanted to write a song about, how about, like, losing my, like, I lost my phone today. I lost my phone, and then, like, something happened. Just to use a stupid example. But I mean, a lot of times, like, good lyrics are pretty stupid, like, in part. So, like, I'll say I've lost my phone. So, like, I'll just start mumbling. And down, 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 and I lost my phone into the sun. Da-da-da, and I lost you. So maybe lost you would be more vague. And da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da, you inside, and I don't see you into the air. You just kind of just do this, and like sometimes it just works, and sometimes it doesn't. And then usually what I do is I have like a notepad program open, and just like when I get good ideas, just write them down. And also when when I'm doing that, I don't really care what I'm saying. Like that's why I would write down the lyrics. What I care more about actually is like the phrases that are coming out. So like um I'll try to hum a few and then stop and explain like what I just heard. So boom, and sometimes I'll also keep a constant note. Like da 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 da. Like if I don't have something, I'll just do that, and then something about that kind of generates ideas. So like, so we're gonna go G D C D, da 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 da, ba da bum bum bum. So da da dum dum dum, up down, da 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 da. Ba-dum bum bum ba ba-dum bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. So right there I could go bum 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 bum. So then bum 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 bum. So then you could think, well, what was I just saying? Bum 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 bum. So you could keep that phrase in your mind, either to sing it, or what I do more often is like I said, I'm not a singer, but I'll do that activity like whenever I'm playing. Sometimes I won't do it out loud, but I hear bum 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 bum. There's the phrase. Oops. Bum 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 bum. And the more you play guitar, the more you do this, you can start to kind of pick out stuff that you were hearing. Ba da ba da da. And then what happens when you do that? It generates more ideas. Da 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 da. Bum bum bum. Hold on. It's weird to try to explain this because it's a vague thing, but there's actually like there was a band named Sigaros that came out with an album where it was just mumbling because the musician was saying that it's like a lot of musicians do this, so he just wanted to keep it at that sort of unformed stage. Also, they sang in Icelandic, so he said he didn't feel like he really needed to even sing anything because no one could understand what they were saying anyways. So it was kind of funny, but. Da 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 da. So my first phrase, da 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 da. So one thing, I'm not feeling that D chord now because of that phrase, da 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 da. So da 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 da. Bum bum ba ba dum bum bum bum. I could go up to there, but that's conflicting with my note I had. It was bum. So maybe right there I might decide I'm going to make a big change in my song from G to C in the beginning. So da 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 da. And now I'm like feeling that because my little phrase was, and I wanted to sing that over the first part because I was going da 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 da. And I can maybe still keep the picking da 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 da. And you just keep doing this process. And then if you have like GarageBand or something fancier, then as soon as you feel like you have an idea, like even like right away when I first had my first idea, I would record it and get it down right away. Like don't wait, just get something down, and then you can mute tracks out or you can delete stuff real easily in GarageBand, and that's like a super fast way to come up with song ideas. Because otherwise, like the ideas will fade that you come up with. Like you'll have a great one, and if you go take a break for 10 minutes, it's going to be gone. So So the very first song I ever made up, actually, just to show this, because it's kind of interesting, because I had like so many blocks about writing songs for some reason, just from thinking that there's some right way to do it, like you had to be good or something. You don't have to be good. Like you can make up songs and drop D. Like if you really want to start a band right away, you could just go and drop D. Learn how to get in drop D and just be like. All I'm doing is holding this down. If you had a drummer and you had a good singer, that would be an awesome song. Like pop songs, like is all about like what the people are singing, like a lot of other elements, like just playing the 5th fret to open, then 2nd fret, maybe to 4th fret, 5. So I mean that could totally pass as a song, especially if you threw some distortion on there. And a lot of like the old punk bands, like a lot of them didn't even play instruments, they just immediately started a band and started writing stuff. So I mean that just proves for certain types of music you don't even have to be good. Like technically, like the goodness is just coming from doing it, not thinking. So here's the first song I ever came up with. So like I was doing the G. I was doing the GCD thing, but also like I realized this was a C chord. So I don't know, this just comes up a lot, you know. This is called C9, but I didn't even think I knew what it was called. I just knew this also counted as a C chord, and I just didn't want to do like straight up like that. So I'm like, all right, this would count as a C, because he wanted to see what I would come up with the next week. So then I think I knew I was going to do that, and I'm like, well, that's going to be a little boring, so why don't I slide? So I ended up sliding like. And then I went. So notice it was basically G to C, the C with the notes on top, and then I changed the bass. So I mean, it's super simple idea. It's G C, but I just started adding little slides like as I worked on it. And then I went. And then after that, I think it went. Then I ended up adding in a few other chords that weren't exactly GCD, like. This is basically a G chord without the bass. It sounds more like a B minor though to me now. But at the time I was just like, alright, I'm not going to play this, so I just did this part of G. And it's just C here. Then I threw in an A minor, just because I was like, I'm getting too bored with GCD, and then I remember it was kind of like, oh, that was cool, like GCD, I'm going to throw A minor in for some reason. So you can throw in more stuff, but then back to this one, this C, then I went A minor, and then I threw out something kind of fancy, because I knew I needed to go to D, so I went like this. The only reason why I did that is because I've been practicing my triads, and I was like, all right, I need a D, but why don't I throw my triads in there? And then it kind of worked out as an like ascending idea, you know. It's like, so I threw in A minor just because I was bored, and to the C chord. A minor. And then I did the D triad. And then back to the beginning. I think I was singing over that. I do remember it, but I really don't want to sing that right now. It's embarrassing. but that was basically the process for me. So it's like, give yourself a constraint like G, C, D. Or you could do like A major and D major, and you could write a song with only those two chords. And there's tons of other ways to come up with songs. I mean, like you could just do it with like riffs. Like let's say you like a little pattern, like you like these little box patterns. That would be a cool riff right there, especially if you had a beat going. You could bend it. Maybe trying to find another box pattern. Maybe just move it down a whole step. That feels like it needs some bass of some kind. Just like you're learning octaves, you could throw some octaves in there. If you put some distortion on it, it would have a lot more aggressive mood. If you played it faster, it would sound different. Depending on what beat you did, it would sound different. So, I mean, that's just that little square pattern a lot of people know. And that would totally be a cool intro. Stuff like that. And then like the key is recording it and starting to build stuff off of it right away, or jamming with other people. Because when you jam with other people, like they'll be like, "Oh, that was cool," but maybe instead of going in there, maybe it'd be like, maybe they'd have like an idea, like something else that would work in there. Maybe they would have like chord ideas. All of a sudden, when someone has another idea like that, it just like totally changes it. So that's about it. I mean, in terms of how I would think about getting started with writing a song, and there's tons of ways to do it. Those just kind of thoughts off the top of my head, and just the idea of a constraint. So I mean, what you could take away from this is just take GCD and just go make something up with GCD. Or like if you're learning something, like if you're learning, there's a riff you like from a song that you're into, or you just learn some scale, just make up something with that, and then throw it down with a beat. And just make sure you record it, and then you could try the mumbling technique and humming and stuff, come up with melodies that way. Write down like lyrics that come to your mind. It really just comes down to courage to do it. Like most people are creative naturally and they have tons of ideas. It's just like not to like think that you have to be super great to start doing it. And just like not caring in a certain way. Just like throw it down, put it out there, or like record it, like upload it somewhere, like keep it somewhere on your computer where you can listen to it and actually engage with it. And then like, you'll, as you do it, you start to get more and more ideas because it just kind of feeds itself. So hope that's helpful. All right.